Right, so now I can record. Is it recording?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me record too.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so shall we start? So hello everyone, G here. So we tried to do this live on Monday, but it didn't work. I'm not sure, quite sure what happened with Facebook. So we're doing this, recording this on Zoom, so we can then post it so you guys can have this amazing information. So our surprise live for this week is with Dr. Danielle Duperet. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. So probably not pronouncing the right way. So yeah, so we're gonna be talking about the importance of healing your trauma so you can then help other people. Because if you don't work on yourself first, you won't be able to help others. So the work needs to be done so you can then guide other people. So I will let Dr. Danielle to just give a quick presentation and talk about a little bit what she does and how she can help us as healing professional now to actually do the healing and heal our traumas. So Dr. Danielle.
Yeah, thank you, Jean. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure.
It's been a long journey. I started in the healing world when I was 15. I was diagnosed with cancer. At the time, I was studying psychology, and the institute I was studying with in Paris also was teaching nutrition. So I went into nutrition as well, and I keep up with everything in nutrition. But what I really enjoy is working with the mind because it's extremely powerful. And there are many different ways. So nutrition is important. If you eat the wrong food, you will have a tendency to be depressed, to have anxiety. So eating, proper food, natural food is important. And now also to supplement because our food is not the best. And, I'm all for whole foods. I don't have my brand. I tell my clients to go try different things, but have it whole food, not something that's isolated. So food is important. And then different tips of how you can keep yourself more stress-free. And I have something that's called a 90-second reboot, where 90 seconds, it's really not that much, right? We can find 90 seconds in our day. So I'll just give that little example. What you do is you take a relaxed position, learn to breathe deeply into your belly.
Okay.
And then if you want, you can close your eyes. You put the tip of your tongue behind your upper teeth, put a slight smile on your face, and then breathe slowly and deeply. You can imagine being in a beautiful place, or just have a blank slate in front of you, and do that for 90 seconds. Okay.
So just put the tip of your tongue on your back, on the top
on
of
the back upper teeth.
the back upper teeth, and then just relax and breathe in and breathe out.
Deep and
Do we breathe in from our nose and breathe out from our mouths, or breathe in from our nose and breathe out from our nose?
No, I usually breathe in through the nose and gently breathe out through the mouth.
Okay, that's different. Okay.
So breathe in through your nose, relax, breathe down, and slow down your breathing. And do that for 90 seconds. What is happening during these 90 seconds, you get in a more relaxed state in what we call the alpha state. You also get a boost of serotonin and of endorphins, which are the feel-good hormones. And you also get to be in a more alkali state. We know that a lot of diseases start when your body is in the contrary. Anyway, an alkali state promotes health. So just 90 seconds to calm you down.
Yeah, I can feel my muscles relaxing.
Yeah, and in your mind, just imagine yourself being in a beautiful place. Some people like to imagine being on the beach or being in a meadow, in a forest, or in a park with beautiful flowers. Just do that for 90 seconds. There we have about 90 seconds, and that is very calming.
It's
How are
very
you feeling?
amazing. Yeah, I can feel my whole body just relaxed. But I found a little it's easier said than done. Like I've had to really concentrate on my breathing when I was breathing out, because I'm not used to do this. So
Okay.
I'm sure as I practice will get easier. But now I had to put my focus on my breathing, because I had to keep the top of my tongue behind my top teeth. So it was something, yeah, that I had to pay attention. It didn't came like naturally because I never done it
Yeah,
before.
but when you pay attention to that, you're not paying attention to what is worrying you.
Focusing, isn't it, on one thing? Yeah, perfect. That's really good. And
Okay, so you have to
that's the
focus on
whole point
something.
of the
If that's
meditation.
not enough, it's just shifting your mind to something else. If that's not enough with the breathing, you can also count your pulse, count your breath, count your pulse. If you do that, your mind's not going to have time to focus on whatever is going on in your world that's distressing. You
Mhm.
do that several times a day, and it's health enhancing.
Yes, and even like anything really that makes you focus, isn't it, will have a similar benefit of a meditation, even crochet or some manual thing.
Crochet, yeah.
The point is you having your focus and on one thing, isn't on a single thing. Yeah.
Yes, and I had a dentist who would give out those cards with multiplication table.
Uh-huh.
You do multiplication tables for a little bit, and it keeps your mind off of, when we worry, it turns in circle in our heads,
Yeah.
and that kind of cuts that off.
Mm-hmm.
So those are little things you can do. The other thing is you can imagine being a palm tree. Palm tree sways.
Uh-huh.
Okay, an oak tree, if it's in a storm, the branch is going to break.
Mm-hmm.
Palm tree doesn't break, it sways,
Amazing.
and it helps you through the worries. Now
Yeah.
there is much deeper things too, and that's what we are, they say 95% controlled by our subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
We just on a train track, we react. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of things, our subconscious mind is really our friend, but it's often misguided. It's trying to protect us when we don't need a protection any longer.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll give some example about people in business who came to me to figure out why they just could not progress in their business.
Yeah.
And especially when businessmen kept starting businesses and he would plateau, never go any further, and couldn't figure out why. So, I do interactive guided imagery. I also use homeopathics that have different vibration for emotions. I also have a device that shows me what emotions are there.
Amazing.
And I use all that to figure out what exactly is keeping that person from progressing.
Yeah.
And for him, he was punishing himself.
Mm-hmm.
He was addicted to pornography, and in his mind, he was very religious.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big no-no.
Yeah.
And, once you discover why, it took just a couple of sessions to go to the root cause
Mm-hmm.
of why he was not progressing, then you have a choice. Am I going to continue my addiction and never progress?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to give it up? And then, there is all kind of different therapies you can do to give up an addiction.
Oh yes, yes, for
So
sure.
that was an example. We had to go to the root cause because, just doing the swaying, it might calm him down, but may not allow him to
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and I think what usually people missed is that you always start with a thought, even if that thought is not on your conscious uh, uh, screen, so you can't see it because it's on a subconscious level, but it's there, and it's just like a TikTok from your clock that you don't hear it anymore because it's there, it's on the background, but it doesn't mean that if you don't listen, it's not there.
That's a very good, yeah, very good example.
Yeah, I have a clock in my office downstairs, and I can hear I don't hear the TikTok. The clock is next to me. And then every time my husband comes to the room, he says, "Oh, this clock is so noisy." I don't hear it because it's there, it's on the background.
Yeah.
I don't hear it anymore. So it's the same way that our thoughts work, because when it's a pattern, it's there all the time, repeating, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, but you don't hear it because it's there on the background. Yeah. But everything, even if it's on the subconscious level, everything starts with a thought. And if we change that thought, that's what you did with your client, right? If you change the thought, you change the vibration, because it always starts with the thought. So you had to discover what that thought was, right? So in
the subconscious thought.
Exactly.
Yeah. I start with a belief, you know, when you buy a computer, it already comes with different programs, right? Some programs you like, some you don't, you can delete. Okay, when we are born, we also come with programs installed in us.
Exactly.
And, you know, it comes from our ancestry. If your great-grandmother had anger issues and didn't deal with them, it gets passed on to eventually, all of a sudden, you have these angry bursts and you don't know why.
Yep.
And it also comes from childhood, from, you know, beliefs from your parents, and all the authority figure, your pastor, your rabbi, whatever religious figure you had, a lot from the media. You learn a lot of things from the media, and from 0 to 6 years old, your conscious mind doesn't really work. Everything is input, input, input. You don't think consciously about it, and that shapes your life. I had another client who could not progress. Again, he was stuck about everywhere in his life. And it came from, he had a horrible childhood, was going from foster care to foster care, and especially one where he was punished every time he did something good or accomplished something in school. So you imagine what that did to, you know, to his life. So I think we worked for like 3 sessions. He was doing fine. And then one day he called me and said, "I'm stuck again. I want to see you now." And I said, "Well, I have other clients." I said, "Just, you know, clear your schedule. I need to see you now. I want to get rid of that problem." So I was able to, you know, in the evening, I worked with him. We worked for 2.5 hours. And, you know, I used everything I had to break through I call that a breakthrough session. And then he changed his relationship. He broke the 100,000 glass ceiling he was under. And I met him in the gym, and he was in perfect shape. The big thing had happened, he called me, was he was in the gym, and all of a sudden he couldn't work because he knew subconsciously that if he started to muscle up and look good, he was going to be punished. It didn't make sense, but that was a belief that came from his childhood. So to me, beliefs will bring thoughts to you. Thoughts are things floating, and because of your belief, you attract certain thoughts, and then with those thoughts, they're going to give you emotions. You're going to see images, and then you're going to act or not act on the going on in your life. And it usually comes because of the actions you took or didn't take, and you took these actions or not because of the emotions, your feelings, the images in your mind that came from the thoughts, that came from the beliefs. So you have to go all the way up to see where it came from.
Yeah, I always like to say that it's like we have these boxes with a lid on top, and they are hidden in the dungeon. So you have to make your way to the dungeon, open the door, light up the room, see the boxes, they are full of dust, take off the lid, then you can see what's inside. So you have to work. towards, you know, towards your aim, which is to find the why is this happening to me, you know. And
Yeah.
sometimes, as you mentioned with your example, you know, it doesn't make sense, like it doesn't make
No,
sense,
it
why am I
doesn't.
doing this, isn't it? I want to achieve that, but then I keep procrastinating, you know. That's go
You know,
against
I like your thought. It doesn't make sense. I have a funny example of a guy who wanted to go on dates. He wanted to find a partner. Problem is, every time he was on a date, he would throw up. They went to a restaurant, he would throw up, so that, you know, they didn't go to the next date.
uh-huh.
But basically, his subconscious mind knew he had been hurt before,
Mhm.
and he wanted to prevent him from being hurt again.
Yeah.
So how do you can work with your subconscious mind. You can dialogue with it and say, okay, instead of throwing up, which is pretty disgusting, how about my little finger hurts? Just to remind me to be careful, not to get started too fast. And that's, you know, the agreement that they got to with the subconscious mind.
Mhm.
So next date he went to, when his little finger hurt, say, okay, let's be careful not to go too fast and trust that person before I know her.
Mhm.
So you can do all kind of agreements. Again, the subconscious mind is usually your friend and is trying to help you,
Fact,
but
isn't it?
sometimes in not so helpful ways.
Yes, it's true. But I think the first step is to come to the realization that we need help, right? We need help with the process to understand our whys, because sometimes we can't do it ourselves. You know, it doesn't mean to say that we don't have the aha moments. Sometimes we do. Like if you meditate, you know, sometimes we come to these realizations, you know, but it's not something that happens every day. Usually you need some help, you know, to get to that dungeon. You know, you feel much more comfortable if you have someone guiding you, if you have someone walking with you and telling you it's okay, I'm here for you, you know, I'm here to support you. And actually, you know, sometimes teach you one thing or two, you know, techniques. For example, you taught us an amazing technique to relax. I didn't know that. So, you know, it's very good to have someone just, you know, helping you through this process. You don't need to do all alone. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You don't need to do this all by yourself.
Especially if you've had a deep trauma.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things, maybe you're going to get insight when you read a book, say, oh, that might be why I'm acting like that. You get that aha moment.
Uh-huh.
But if you've had deep trauma in your childhood, or if you've been in the military, I work with people with PTSD from domestic violence or child abuse or sexual abuse.
Yeah.
You don't really want to do that all alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. But like talking about entrepreneurship, you know, there are hidden, how can I say this? There are hidden things or trauma. Let's use the proper words. Trauma, because sometimes trauma seems so heavy, but it doesn't need to be. Sometimes it's something very simple, but at that time cause a very big effect. For example, if you are emotionally full, something very little can happen and can cause a trauma, right?
Yeah.
So let's say your dad came from work and he's all dirty, and you're tired, you're a little kid, you're tired, you're hungry, right? Your sister just pushed you and you feel exhausted, and then you see your dad, you're like, oh, daddy, give me a cuddle, I need you. And he's all dirty and he push you away, so let daddy have a shower first. That can be a trauma. You can feel rejected, and that will have an impact on your whole life. And so trauma doesn't need to be something very big. It can be, but it doesn't need to. Sometimes we have these little traumas that will impact on the way we actually are conducting our life at the moment, our lives at the moment. At the moment, so it's very important to actually work with these traumas, so then we can free ourselves, and then we'll be able to help others even better.
Yeah, and first of all, you have to become aware.
Yeah.
Aware that there is something. Why am I always acting like that? The other thing I was going to say, the subconscious mind is not logical.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the best example I've heard was from a medical doctor. He told us parents came with a little 6-year-old kid that was deathly allergic to broccoli. And it's not a common allergy. You know, we have like peanut allergy, milk allergy, broccoli, what's going on? Well, when the kid was about 2 or 3 years old, his neighbors came with his dead puppy in their arms. They had ran over the puppy. The kid was eating broccoli at the time, and his mind linked his pain to the broccoli instead of linking it to the puppy. So it can be very tricky to find why in the world you have something. So eventually they were able to do therapy and, you know, got rid of the allergy. But it can be very tricky. Like you say, it can be a tiny little thing that came at the wrong moment maybe, and that caused a trauma that you're not even aware. So, you know, awareness comes first, and then you have to be willing to do something about it.
Yeah.
So awareness, willingness, then comes the tools and techniques. Then you have to take action and apply them. That's when you have success in your life.
True. True. So I guess here, you know, it's all about a decision as well, isn't it? That was the second step you mentioned, but I guess this is really important because sometimes we don't even know what's wrong. We don't have the awareness, but we are tired of that. And then we want to, we only know that we need to change. We don't know how, we don't know what happened, we don't know why we act like that, but we made the decision that we want to do something different. And then things can become, you know, better because you made the decision, and then you just go with that decision, and you'll be able to then experience, you know, success. Let's say this way. Success doesn't need to be linked to financial success, but it's success in your life, you know, being healthier, doing exercise. You know, if you plan to do that and then you start doing that and you feel better, that's a success. You succeed on that, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And you know, there you were talking about finances. There's a lot of blocks to finances. And when I lived in California, I worked with a group of business people who had blockages, and we were reading a specific book about finances. And what I would do, I would muscle test the people, would read a paragraph. And then I would muscle test people to say, do I have a problem with that paragraph or not? And then we do, you know, different techniques to get rid of that blockage. And then we would move to the next paragraph. So every week we did a chapter. And eventually people were flying high with their finances.
Amazing.
Because you removed one block after another.
Yeah, this is
So
amazing
we
because we start
having a little blockage on the internet.
And hearing that, we start to understand that sometimes, you know, it's not as hard as we think it is. Sometimes it just needs, you know, a little technique, right?
Exactly.
That will help us to get this blockage out from us, and then we'll be able to move on energetically. There's nothing there to prevent us from achieve what we want.
Yeah, I don't necessarily always go deep. And I like that example. I learned to do imagery and go deep. That's one of the first things I learned. And one day I woke up and I was coughing, and, you know, I started a cold or a flu or something. So I decided, okay, I'm going to set 2 hours aside so I can go deep and figure out why I have that cold. I went to the shower, did a ritual in the shower, different techniques, came out of the shower, the cold was gone. So sometimes, you know, you just apply. I use a lot the tapping techniques. If you've heard about them, I have my own brand of them. I do that and different things. And, you know, I never did that 2 hours to figure out why I had a cold. It was gone. Okay, let's move on. Sometimes it's just very easy, and you don't have to go, you know, deep.
So deep. Yeah. Amazing.
But, you know, you have the images of the dungeon and boxes. I like that. My image is more about going like scuba diving and finding a treasure chest, and we open the treasure chest and, okay, what is a gift that the subconscious mind is trying to give us? And let's talk to that subconscious mind to maybe you know, see it in a different way and grow up, because what happened at 6 years old, it's totally different from what's happening when you're in your 40s.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. So it's all about opening either the box or the treasure chest, isn't it? It's opening up and
Exactly.
get
Yep.
all this emotional content out from our lives.
And actually, to me, it's fun too. I have the image of, you know, we go into a house, and there's those different doors. Okay, what door are you going to go through to find a solution?
Yeah.
And then we examine the room and see where it leads us.
Amazing. Yeah, I love that technique. I use it very often with my clients. It's amazing, you know, what comes out of those rooms.
You know, eventually moving come up with your client is so enlightening and it's fascinating. It's usually a journey that you take, and you have all these adventures.
Yeah, perfect. It's amazing. I'm just aware of the time. It's been 30 minutes already. Time flies when we have fun. So any last words you want to just share with us? Anything that we can...
Just, you know, if you have a problem, that means there is a solution somewhere. You wouldn't have a problem if there was no solution. So become aware of the problem, seek the solution, it will appear. And also I like to invite people who are interested to come on my Facebook group. It's called Dr. Danielle's Step-by-Step Holistic Health. You'll get my free book, that the Healing Power. Oh, let me see this one.
Yeah, we can see it.
Excuse me, it's an interactive book. There are videos with healing frequencies in it.
Perfect.
And then I give tips weekly about what you can do for your physical, emotional, and mental body.
Okay, perfect. So for those who want to buy your book, are they
free? It is a free book.
Oh, it's a... okay, perfect. Amazing.
The free book if you join my my group on Facebook.
Your group on Facebook. Perfect. That's amazing. So that's a gift for all of us here from Dr. Danielle. So Dr. Danielle, thank you so much for being here with us and for sharing, you know, these amazing techniques and sharing a little bit about what you do. We really appreciate. So if you guys have any questions for Dr. Danielle, just put your questions in the comments below, and I'm sure she'll be able to answer some of the questions. If not, just go straight to her group, and you can write a post or ask questions there as well. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for being here with us, and I'll see you again soon online. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.